Hello students, welcome to the session. Today we will discuss about a topic probability, and most of us think like probability is easy, it is the easiest topic of all of them, but remember one thing, that it includes a lot of it involves a lot of tedious calculation. So your calculation should be brisk and fast, like you should be doing them quickly, like direct steps, or that type of calculation should be done so that it saves your time. And you get maybe few questions, but still this is also one of the important topics, right. So let us get into the session. Let us start with the questions. The first question says that of the three independent events E1, E2 and E3. So there are three independent events, and we know what are dependent and what are independent events, right. So these are independent events. So E1, E2 and E3 are the independent events here, and the probability that E1 only E1 occurs means what? When E1 is occurring, E2 and E3 are not happening, okay, only one of those events occur, right, only E1 occurs. And when only E1 occurs, the probability is given as alpha, and probability that only E2 occurs is beta, and the probability only E3 occurs is gamma. And let the probability that none of these three events happen, like none of those three, see these are the three events, either one of them can happen, two of them can happen, all the three can happen, or none of them also can happen. But we are given the probability, remember, only the probability when only even E1 happens, means the remaining two are not happening. So alpha is the one when only E1 is happening. Similarly beta and gamma for E2 and E3. And then what happened is, like he has given us a probability P P that none of the events E1 also is not happening, E2 also is not happening, and E3 also is not happening. So none of those events happen, then the probability is P, and this probability is satisfying these two given equations. So what are those two equations here? One is alpha minus 2 beta times P, where alpha is the probability when only E1 happens, and beta is the probability when only E2 happens, and P is the probability when none of them happens. That value is equal to alpha beta. That is one equation given to us, and the other one is beta minus 3 gamma. Beta minus 3 gamma times P is equal to 2 beta times gamma is one of the equations given to us. So he gave us two equations which are satisfying this way, like alpha minus 2 beta times P is equal to alpha beta, and beta minus 3 gamma times P is equal to 2 beta gamma. These are the two equations that they are satisfying. All these given probabilities are assumed to lie in this interval, and we see this is a basic point, that no probability is definitely more than 1, and he says like 0 and 1 say they are less, like means even no probability is 1, right, means every probability has a chance. There is nothing there is no event which has a 0 probability here, because all of them, all the probabilities are less than 1 and greater than 0. So there is no probability which is 0 here. You cannot take any probability 0 and you cannot take any probability 1, right. Then what is he asking? Find the probability of occurrence of E1 by probability of occurrence of E2. So you have to find probability of E1 by probability of E2. Probability of E1 by E2, you might think it is okay alpha by gamma. No, see, alpha is the probability when only E1 is happening, but probability of E1 is the probability when E1 can happen, E1 and E2 can happen, and E1, E2 and E3 also can happen. So it doesn't look at whether the other two events are happening or not. So probability of E1 is something when E1 is simply happening, that's it. It's not like only E1 happening, right. So let us take probability of E1 to be P1. I am taking probability of E1 as P1. That means what? P1 is not equal to alpha, guys, okay. So now what can we say? Similarly, if I take probability of E2 is equal to P2. Similarly, probability of E3 is equal to P3. So, these are the three things which we have taken. Then what can we say? Alpha is what? Alpha is the probability when only E1 is happening and E2 and E3 are not happening, right. So, when E2 is not happening, what is the probability that E2 should not happen? 1 minus P2. Do you agree? Similarly, when E3 is not happening, it is 1 minus P3, and when E1 is not happening, it should be 1 minus P1, right. So, these are the probabilities when each of them are not happening. So, alpha will be equal to the product of these two, like probability of that to happen times when E2 is not happening and when E3 is not happening. Similarly, for probability of E2 also and probability of E3 also we can say. So, what is happening here? I am taking E1, E2 and E3, the probability is to be P1, P2 and P3 for them to happen. Then probability of E1, only E1 to happen is P1 when probability of when E1 is happening, that is the probability of E1 to happen. So, P1 times I do not want E2 to happen and E3 to happen, that is the reason we are writing it this way, right guys. Probability of P1 times 1 minus P2 times 1 minus P3 is equal to alpha. In the same way you can write these three equations. This is the second equation and this is the third equation. I hope you are following what we are doing here. We are trying to find out the values of P1 and P2 in terms of maybe our alpha and beta or something like that. Then we will see what we can write the value as E1 by E3. See here he wants E1 by E3, that means what? Actually we have to find the value of P1 by P3, that is what we are looking for. So, let us try to find its value by using these two equations and the values we are deriving, right. Now, these are the three equations which we have got. Then the probability of none of the events happen, like no other event is happening, we are taking it to be P, because he only gave that it is P. So, P is equal to all of them are not happening, 1 minus P1 times 1 minus P2 times 1 minus P3. You understand, right, like 1 minus P1 is when E1 is not happening and 1 minus P2 is when E2 is not happening, similarly P3. Now, what are we trying to do here is I am trying to divide equation 1 by this equation, say let us name this as 4. So, each of the equations 1, 2 and 3 I am dividing by equation 4 and I get these values. Let me divide 1 and show it to you if you want. So, alpha by P, alpha by P, this entire thing divided by this entire thing, right. So, P1 times 1 minus P2 times 1 minus P3 by these values 1 minus P1, 1 minus P2 and 1 minus P3. So, P2 P3 and P2 P3 get cancelled. So, we get alpha is equal to P1 by 1 minus P1. Similarly, beta value and similarly gamma value can be related this way, like alpha by P, beta by P and gamma by P. Clear? Right. Now, we are taking the equations given to us. First equation given to us is what? Alpha minus 2 beta times P is equal to alpha beta. I did not do anything here, I just divided by alpha beta. See, this is what I am saying, like, calculations should be very quick so that you save some time to solve the rest of the questions, right. So, what did I do? I divided it by alpha and beta on both sides. So, what will you get? P by beta minus 2 P by alpha is equal to 1, just dividing it on both the sides, right, by alpha beta. And I am naming this one, we are naming this equation as 1, right. Next, the other equation we will take and again we divide it by beta gamma on both the sides and we get one more equation. So, what is the previous equation? P minus P by beta minus 2 P by alpha is equal to 1. Let us write that here. P by beta minus 2 P by gamma 2 P by alpha is equal to 1. Now what can you do? You can just substitute this value, means send it to the other side and find the value of p by beta and substitute that in the equation 2p by alpha. So I substitute that value into this equation. So p by gamma minus 3 times p by beta is 1 plus 2p by alpha. This value is equal to 2. So when I simplify it, I get p by gamma minus 3 minus 6p by alpha is equal to 2, and I send the 3 to the other side and I get this equation, right. P by gamma minus 6p by alpha is equal to 5. Now we have already proved that alpha by p is equal to p1 by 1 minus p1, right. So that is what I am substituting here. It is p by gamma. What is p by gamma? The reciprocal of this fraction, right. So I have to take the reciprocal of that, which is 1 by or simply 1 minus p3 by p3. So that is what I am writing here. It is 1 minus p3 by p3 minus 6 p by alpha. P by alpha, alpha is what? Alpha by p is equal to p1 by 1 minus p1. So p by alpha will be 1 minus p1 by p1. So let us write that 6 times 1 minus p1 by p1. This is equal to 5, right. Now on simplifying this, you get p1 by p3 is equal to 6. So how do we get that, right? Like that is what I was telling, like your calculation should be quick enough so that you can do it easily. It's nothing, just you take the LCM and simplify. Don't, there is nothing like where you have to do too much of calculations. What you have to do is just take LCM, right. You take LCM and you get P1 minus P1 P3 minus 6 P3 minus 6 P3, minus of minus is plus 6 P1 P3 by P1 P3, this value is equal to 5, right. Then here if you actually look at it carefully, you can write this as P1 minus 6 P3 by P1 P3 plus 5. How do we get 5 is 6 P1 P3 minus P1 P3 is 5 P1 P3, and I am separating the LCM, separating the terms, and 5 P1 P3 by P1 P3, P1 P3 and P1 P3 gets cancelled and just 5. Why I am doing that is I can get rid of this 5 on the right hand side. So P1 minus 6 P3 is equal to 0, cross multiplying, like 5 and 5 goes off and that side you have 0, then P1 minus 6 P3 is equal to 0, then P1 by P3 is equal to 6 by 1, which is 6, right. So here the answer is 6 by 1, or simply you can say 6. Understand, guys? Right. Let us go to the second question. 3 randomly chosen non-negative integers. What are non-negative integers? Like you start from 1, 1, 2, 3, right? Non-negative, not 1, 2, 3, it is from 0, 1, 2, 3, because I am not saying positive integers. If I say positive, then you have to start from 1, but I am saying non-negative integers, so you have to start from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on. are found to satisfy the equation x plus y plus z is equal to 10, then the probability that z is even is. So, in this when you have these numbers and some of these numbers should be equal to 10, it is not more than 10, it is exactly equal to 10, then what is the probability of having z as a even number. So, what you have to do, you have to find total number of all possibilities, means all different numbers, different combinations where the possibility is 10, the sum is 10, and then you have to find how many places, how many cases you can take z as an even number, and then you find the ratio of those two, means the combinations where z is even by total number of possibilities will give you the probability, right. So, can you tell me what can be the numbers, like how far we can take the numbers, because non-negative integers we have so many numbers, right, how many numbers we can take. I know most of you might be thinking by now like, okay, they cannot be more than 10, obviously they cannot be more than 10 because there is no negative number. When you take numbers which are more than 10, then what happens, your values become bigger than 10, right, and other values, other numbers lose the placeholders, their values will be lost. That means, suppose if I take z is equal to 10, that is the only possible value again. If I take 11, then I have to subtract something to get 10, right. But if I take this as 10, yeah, I can still take this as 10 because this can be 0 and this can also be 0. There is a possibility x plus y is 0, right. So, let us see what the possibilities we have. So, what do we know, x plus y plus z is equal to 10. The sum is 10 and the number of variables in this, number of numbers we have to take are 3. So, we know the formula, right, like n plus m minus 1 C10, Cn is what you can take, right. So, here my number of these things are 10 and the number of variables are 3. So, I am taking it as a 3 plus 10 minus 1 C10, that is the total number of possible combination of x, y and z I can take, so that the sum is equal to 10. When the sum is 10, it should be 10, then the number of variables are 3. So, 3 plus 10, and from that you have to subtract 1 minus 1. This is the formula, right, like n plus m minus 1 C n is equal to the number of possible combinations, right. So, using that, this is my total number of possibilities where x plus y plus z can be equal to 10. So, what can this be? This is equal to 12 factorial by 2 factorial into 10 factorial, right, using NCR formula. So, this should be equal to 12 into 11 because 10 factorial and 10 factorial gets cancelled by 2. So, this is equal to 66. So, total possibilities we have are 66. So, the denominator, our fractions denominator we already found, right. Now, we break it down into cases and we want only z to be even number. So, what are the even numbers possible? 0, 2, 4, 6, 8 and 10, these are the numbers that can be even. So, let us take the first case when z is 0. If z is 0, then what should happen? X plus y should be equal to 10. Again, applying the same formula, you have here two variables this time, 2 plus 10 minus 1 C10, and if you find its value is equal to 11, right. Okay, so, you can remember these things like NC0 is equal to NCN is equal to 1. These will help you in saving a lot of time, guys. So, and NC1 is equal to NCN minus 1, this value will be equal to n, that is what I have used here. 11C10 will be equal to 11 and NCR is equal to NCN minus R, right. So, using that we have this value when z is equal to 0. If z is equal to 2, then x plus y should be equal to 8, 10 minus 2 which is equal to 8, and we apply the same formula again, 2 plus 8 minus 1 C8, the combination, and we get the value to be 9. So, 11, 9, and then if you take z to be 4, you get 7 values, and z to be 6, you get 5 values. What are we doing? We are applying the same formula, guys. We are not doing anything new here, just applying the same formula. And then when z is equal to 8, you have 3 values, and when z is equal to 10 you have only one value, x plus y is equal to 10 is the only possibility, right. So, these are the numbers we have 11, 9, 7, 5, 3 and 1, and we add all of them, that is equal to 36. So, 36 by 66, because we want z to be even. So, 36 by 66 which is equal to 6 by 11, that is the correct option. So, when x plus y plus z is equal to 10 and z is to be even number, then the probability is 6 by 11. 6 by 11 is the 6 out of every 11 numbers we create, z will be the even number, right. Let us get into the next question. Yes, yeah, and one more thing, like these questions, like probability questions, will be like a lot of text is involved in it, like you will be given a scenario to read, understand, comprehend, and then derive some information from it and then try to solve. So that is where you lose most of your time. Okay, so be careful. A computer producing a factory has only two plants. It has two plants, T1 and T2, say machines or plants, whatever it is they produce, and T1 produces 20% of the product output and T2 produces 80%. One is producing 20, the other is producing 80. Of the total computers produced, 7% of the computers produced in the factory turn out to be defective. So, when the production is done, like there will be always defective ones, and here 7% of the computers produced in that factory are defective. It may be, see, it may be from T1 or it may be from T2, but together it is the defective ones produced are 7%. And it is known that the probability that computer turns out to be defective given that is produced by plant T1 is equal to 10 times the probability when it is produced by T2. So, probability of a defective produced by T1 is 10 times the probability of the defective produced by T2. So, T1 is producing more defective ones, that is the reason they are giving only 20% of the production chance to T1. So, also PE denotes the probability of an event E. So, PE means is generalizing like what is P of and 10 P of. So, event probability of an event E. So, a computer produced in the factory is randomly selected. So, in the from the production a lot they selected a computer randomly and it does not turn out to be defective. So, it is a non-defective piece. So, see, this is also like twisted turned sentences he is giving. Then the probability that it is produced in plant T2. So, we have to find out what is the probability that it is produced non-defective, means T2 by D, if you say D as the defective one, right. I will not confuse you, let us get into it. So, what are we trying to do here is let D denote the event that the computer is defective. So, I am naming the defective event to be D. So, D, E of D. So, plant T1 produces how much? 20% and plant T2 produces 80% of the total computers, right. So, probability of a computer to be produced by plant T1 is 0.2, 20 by 100 and T2 is 0.8. Now, what do we know? We have probability of totality or total probability, what it is? I am when it is produced by T2. So, this is the condition given to us. So, we can use this. Also, we already know that the probability is 7% for a computer to be defective one irrespective of which plant it is being produced in, right. So, using that I know probability of D is equal to 7 by 10. Now, putting in these values, like I am substituting into this equation, probability of D is 7 by 100 equals to 20 by 100 times 20 by 100 is probability of T1. 10 times probability of d by t2 plus 80 by 100 into probability of d by t2, because this is the value I am substituting. Here I should have probability of defective 1 times t1. So, this value is being substituted there, right. So, I substitute the value for that. Then if I simplify these simplifications, numerical simplifications, guys, you should be quick in solving them, right. So, probability of defective 1 given it is produced by T2 is 7 by 280 and probability of defective 1 given by T1 is 70 by 280, right. These are the two probabilities, but what are we looking for? We are looking for not defective one, right. So, non-defective given when it is produced by T2 and non-defective given when it is produced by T1 will be nothing but 1 minus 7 by 280 and 1 minus 70 by 280. That is what we will do, right. These are the probabilities when they are not defective, right. So, now we can use our favorite Bayes theorem, right. You all know what is Bayes theorem, right. This is derived, is an extension kind of extension of totality of probability, right. So, probability of T2 given it is not defective, that is what we are trying to find, which is nothing but probability of T2 into probability of non-defective one produced by T2, probability of non-defective one produced by T2 divided by total probability, means probability of T1 into probability of non-defective one produced by T1 plus probability of T2 into probability of non-defective one produced by T2. When you substitute these values, I am not going to calculate these values, guys, you have to do it. When you simplify, you get the value to be 78 by 93. So, 78 by 93 is C. So, that is the correct answer. So, see here the key point, the point to be understood here is you have to read the question quickly with your highest concentration, so that you get the inference quickly, so that you can save time and then do these calculations quickly, right. Let us go to the next question. Football teams T1 and T2 have to play 2 games against each other. So, 2 teams are there, they have to play 2 games against each other, like both of them are playing 2 games finally. It is assumed that the outcome of the 2 games are independent. So, these are not independent, dependent, be very careful about this. So, these 2 results are independent events, means it will not depend on the one of the other, means happening of one event will not affect the other event. It is assumed that the outcomes of the 2 games are independent. The probabilities of T1 winning, drawing and losing the game against T2 are given by half, 1 by 6 and 1 by 3 respectively. And also each team gets, so T1 ka winning chance he gave, winning probability is half and drawing is 6, means 1 by 6, 1 by 6th of a chance is there to draw the game, 50-50 chance is there to win the game and 1/3 is the chance to lose the game. So, T1 is I think stronger, right, that is the reason they are losing lesser number of games. So, this is given to us, that is only of T1 against T2, but it is not related to T2. Each team gets 3 points for a win, if they win they get 3 points, 1 point for a draw, if it is drawn each team gets 1 and 1, if I win I get 3 and if I draw the game with the other team I get 1 and he also gets 1, and then losing obviously 0, no points and the other fellow will get 3 in a game. Let x and y denote the total points scored by the teams after the 2 games. So, x is the points gained by T1 after the 2 games and y is the total points gained after the by the T2 after 2 games, means this T1 includes points from game 1 and game 2, this also the same, points from game 1 and points from game 2, they include those 2 points. Then what is he asking? Probability of x greater than y and probability of x is equal to y. So, we have to find out what are all the total possibilities for x greater than y, less than y and equal to y, all possible outcomes, and then take these values, like find in which of those cases x is greater than y and then you find the ratio, you get its probability. Similarly, you take a ratio when both of them are equal and you get the probability, right. So, let us quickly see these cases. If x greater than y, then T1 cannot lose any match. See what are the points scored here in winning a match? 3. Suppose if say this is T1 and T2, right. If T1 loses a match, then what is happening? T1 lost the match means T2 is winning. So, T2 will definitely get 3 marks, right. These are the 3 marks got by them. Say next match T1 wins and this fellow loses, but still x is equal to y here, but not greater than, but we want x to be greater than. So, that means what? This always should be greater than the marks scored by him. That means there are 2 cases. One is T1 winning both the matches, or winning one and drawing another. If wins one and draws another, then also x is greater than y. So, that is what is the case for x greater than y. So, either T1 wins both the matches or T1 wins one match and draws the other. Here first match winning, second match drawing, first match drawing, second match winning. This is again a case, right. So, these all 3 cases we have to find them and add. So, winning cup probability is half, right. The match winning probability here is half. For team 1 to win the match is half, and to draw it is 1 by 6. So, we need 1 by 2 times 1 by 2, probability of winning both the matches is 1 by 2 into 1 by 2 times drawing the match and winning the match is 1 by 6 times 1 by 2, because probability of drawing a match is 1 by 6 here. So, 1 by 6 times 1 by 2 and 1 by 2 times 1 by 6, which is equal to 5 by 12. When you simplify this and add them, you will get 5 by 12. So, 5 by 12 is the correct answer here, right. Next, x is equal to y. So, x is equal to y, we already discussed, right. T1 draws both the matches, means T1, T2, I draw the match, he draws, he also gets 1 mark, drawn match 1 mark, right, or losing one and winning one, then also they are equal. These are the 2 cases. So, drawing both the matches or wins one match and loses the other. So, again take those combinations, drawing both is only 1 and then losing and winning will be 2, like first lost and won the second match and then won the match and lost the match. So, using that 1 by 6 times 1 by 6, because drawing it is the probability is 1 by 6, right. 1 by 6 times 1 by 6 plus 1 by 3 times 1 by 2 plus 1 by 2 times 1 by 3, because losing probability is 1 by 3. The probability to lose is 1 by 3. That is the reason it is 1 by 3 times 1 by 2, and you simplify, you get 13 by 36 as the option, 13 by 36, that is the correct option, right. Got it, right. So, let us go into the next question. Yes, let n1 and n2 be the number of red and black balls respectively in box 1. So, there are 2 boxes, maybe, yeah, box 1 and box 2. So, there are boxes, right, and n1 and n2 be number of red balls and black balls. So, n1 red balls, n1 red balls and n2 black balls, right. This is box 1 and this is box 2. Here n3 and n4 be the number of red balls and black balls. So, n3 red and n4 black, right. One of the 2 boxes, box 1 and box 2, was selected at random. So, it is a random selection. So, what will be the probability of selecting box 1? Will be equal to half, because 50-50 chances are there, it is randomly selected. So, this is again equal to probability of B2. So, probability of B1 and B2 will be 50-50, right. A ball was drawn randomly out of this box, the ball was found to be red. So, the ball is red. When they found it and they selected one box randomly and picked a ball out and it is found to be red. If the probability that the red ball was drawn from box 2 is 1 by 3. So, if I want to pull a ball out from this, a red ball is 1 by 3, the probability of red ball from box 2 is 1 by 3, then the correct options with the possible values of n1, n2, n3 and n4 are. So, he is asking to find out these values like n1, n2, n3, n4. He gave only one thing is 1 by 3 is the probability when the ball is selected from box 2, right. So, let us list down the information given to us. We have already seen that, like box 1 has n1 red balls and n2 black balls, n3 and this one, right. And A denote the event that a red ball is. So, it may be any box, I am taking from first box or second box, I am naming it as A. Picking a red ball is A and picking a black ball is B. Say suppose we do not need about that, but picking a red ball is A and picking a black ball or non-red ball is B. Also, E1 denote the event of selection of box 1 and E2 denote the event of selection of box 2. So, here two experiments are there. First one is selecting a box, then picking a ball. Two experiments here, selecting a box which is 50-50, that is already given to us, probability of this one is given to us like 50-50 is a random selection that is there, and then selecting a red ball from it. Also, when you select a box 2 and then a red ball, so probability of E2 given a red ball is 1 by 3, that is what is given to us, right. It is a red ball we know, then what is the probability that it came from E2, that is what is given, which is 1 by 3. So, a red ball taken from box E2 or box 2 is 1 by 3, that is given to us, right. So, now I allow him the Bayes, we will use Bayes theorem. What is it? Probability of E2 given A is nothing but probability of E2 times probability of A given E2 by the total probability, right, probability of E1 times probability of A given E1 plus that one, right. So, we have these values, probability of A given E1 is n1 by n1 plus n2 and probability of A given E2 is n2 by n3 by n3 plus n4. It is simple, right, like probability of A means selecting a red ball from the E1. So, in E1 how many balls are there totally? N1 and N2. So, N1 plus N2 are the total balls and possible success is N1, right. So, red ball we are looking for. So, N1 is the possible success. So, N1 by N1 plus N2, similarly N3 by N3 plus N4. Now, in this if you substitute those values and simplify, this one will be 1 by 3 here, right, and write those values, these values into that and simplify, you get n1 by n1 plus n2 plus n3 by n3 plus n4 is equal to 3 n3 by n3 plus n4. This is a tedious job guys, but there is no other option, right. Now, after knowing this, what we have to do is just substitute, check all the options, whatever option fails and whatever option succeeds will be your response, right. You should give the same response, like when I substitute these values it satisfies this equation. You can substitute and simplify it and see, I am not going to do that, and then this also is satisfied, but these two did not satisfy when I have calculated. You might get a different answer, try to do and see if you get different answer, please post in the comment section, okay. I will check and see if I have done something wrong, okay. It is not like everyone should know everything in math guys, like nobody can swim across mathematics in one day, right, not even one day, even in his entire life nobody can say I have learnt entire mathematics, because mathematics is a continuous process of learning and there is always something new to be learnt, right. So, go through these calculations, check if I have done something wrong, because for me these two are the right options, 1 and 2 are the correct options, you please check and see if you get the fourth one and fifth one, I mean third and fourth also maybe, right. Okay guys, can we jump into the next question? let x and y be two events such that probability of x is 1 by 3. So, event 1 ka probability already gave, probability of x given y, when y happens, probability of x to happen, this is conditional probability which is half, and probability of y given x is also given. Then which of the following are correct? So, he has asked us to find this. By now I think most of you might be thinking of this formula, right. Probability of y given x is probability of x intersection y by probability of x. If it is x given y, then it is by y, probability of y. This will change to probability of y when it is x given y, right. So, you just substitute the values here, probability of y given x is 2 by 5. So, I substitute 2 by 5 and I need to find intersection y, right. I am trying to find this, that is the reason I have written the formula. You also have thought of that formula because you need to calculate x intersection y. So, when we substitute those values and simplify, I get 2 by 15 as probability of x intersection y. Remember this value because we are going to use it in further calculations, because we need a x union y, there we need its intersection, right, to find the value, like union formula is there for that. So, what did we get now here? We have got 2 by 15. So, here 2 by 15 is not there, right. So, oh, intersection here, right. So, this one is a wrong option for us. He has given it as 1 by 5. So, that is a wrong option. Next, probability of y given x is done. So, x given y also we will find it off. So, y given x, if I do, because we have y given x is 2 by 5 is given, okay. Y given x is half. Sorry, we are finding x given y, guys, probability of x given y. So, x given y is given as half, I substitute the value, right, and the probability of x intersection y, probability of y is equal to, when I cross multiply this one there, I get probability of y is equal to 4 by 15, which is the second option, which is correct. So, I calculated probability of y using probability of x given y. Probability of y given x we used to find probability of x intersection y, and probability of x given y we used to find probability of y. So, we have already checked with two options. So, remaining two, let us check probability of x union y, which is probability of x plus probability of y minus their intersection. So, you substitute those values because we have all these values already with us, right. X is there, y we already found, intersection also we found. You just substitute and get 7 by 15, x union y is 7 by 15, but here it is 2 by 5. So, this is also a wrong option, right. And then probability of x dash means not x given y. Using the formula, this can be written as a probability of x complement intersection y by probability of y, right. Now, x complement intersection y is what? Probability of y, from y you have to subtract x intersection y, right. So, that is the formula for it, probability of y minus probability of x intersection y by probability of y. So, all our values again right answer. So, in this question for us, second and fourth are the correct options, the rest are wrong options. You also can solve it and check. And let me see if you have any questions, if you might have asked some questions, and if they are, I will get back to you. Okay, I hope you understood and enjoyed your session, and I wish you all the best for your JEE exam. Do well, okay, and keep learning.